Okay, we're on day 4, part 3 of Holy Ground. And the heading is More Practice Than Theory. Jesus was asked by his disciples, teach us to pray. And he started praying. That was his answer. A modern father of spiritual discipline, Richard Foster, counsels, by praying we learn to pray. The contemplative Thomas Merton wrote, if you want a life of prayer, the way to get it is by praying. The spiritual giant Mother Teresa instructed, if we really want to pray, mean to pray, and want to pray, we must be ready to do it now. Prayer is more practice than theory. So let me offer a starting place with a phrase borrowed from Dom John Chapman. Pray as you can, and don't try to pray as you can't. If you can't pray for an hour, great. Don't try it. It'll feel like an eternity. Pray for a minute. Pray as you can. Don't try to pray as you can't. If you zone out every time you try to pray at home, pray while you're running errands, exercising, or walking down the sidewalk. If you can't concentrate enough to pray aloud, journal prayers with paper and pen. If you can't pray with hope and faith, God isn't bothered. He wants you to tell him about your doubt and disappointment. If you can't pray in phrases of praise and adoration, don't fake it. Pray your complaints, your anger, or your confusion. And if you're more comfortable with cynicism than innocence, unsure about your motives, afraid of silence, afraid of an answer, or pretty confident you ain't doing it right, you're in a perfect starting place. Pray as you can, and somewhere along the way you will make the most important discovery of your life, the love the Father has for you. That discovery is God's end of the deal. Your part is just to show up, honestly. Show up and keep showing up. That's the one non-negotiable when it comes to prayer. And that invitation is for everybody. If you've never uttered a word of prayer, you should know that one humble request was enough for a career thief crucified next to Jesus to discover the Father's love. If prayer is a source of a deep wound or disappointment for you, remember that when trust is broken in a relationship, it doesn't get healed by silence and distance. Healing requires the courage of re-engaging. I won't pretend that's easy, but it is the place of healing. If you're years into an active life of mature prayer and beginning to wonder what's left to discover, remember you'll spend an eternity in the presence of God and never reach the end of him. You'll never lose a sense of wonder at his goodness, never grow bored of his presence, and never have him figure it out all. There is discovery and infinitum in this divine relationship. Pray as you can. It's an invitation for everybody, the rookies, the jaded, the faithful, and everyone in between. New Year's Eve 2018. One visit back to the old middle school wasn't enough for me. I had to go back. On New Year's Eve, I went out to dinner with my wife, and after dessert, I went for it. You know where a romantic place would be to ring in the new year? I drove as fast as I could across a couple of towns back to the old middle school because I wanted to be circling it in prayer when the clock turned. I went back, not because I thought if I did, God would do something that I wanted him to do. I didn't go back because there's some kind of mystical power in lining God up with the numbers on our calendar. I went back because that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be with the Father. And that night, again, finding my car to be the only one in the parking lot, again, walking my personal holy ground in prayer, I didn't become any more his son. God didn't love me any more that night than he has any other night. And I didn't belong to him any more entirely than any other person out dancing and doing champagne toast. But in a world that for the most part rejects him, ignores him, and chooses any distraction over him, imagine how much it must bless the heart of the Father to hear, I want to be with you. I choose you, God, over every other option. Prayer is about presence before it's about anything else. Prayer doesn't begin with outcomes. Prayer is the free choice to be with the Father, to prefer his company, and our desires for certain outcomes or our confusion over not getting certain outcomes, we are tempted to begin there. But we cannot brush past simply being with the Father and arrive at anything close to the sort of prayer Jesus won back for us. Prayer starts with presence. So there I am, walking around this school, the familiar prayer circle that defined my life. As Kirsten, mother to 2 little ones at the time, patiently works a breast pump in an idling car. What God started in me as a 13-year-old kid never stopped. Everything else in my life has changed, but this is constant. I spent the waking hours of the morning preferring the Father's presence. At 13, it was 6:30 a.m. at the school before the teachers even bothered showing up. At 31, there was a rooftop of my Brooklyn apartment building, having acrobatically scaled a fire escape with a cup of coffee in hand to access. Now at 34, it's walking a pathway through Lawhurst Park in the heart of Portland in the dark of the early morning with a quickly cooling mug of coffee in my right hand. Why? Because in spite of everything, I still prefer God's presence to anything else. It's not the gritting your teeth, come on God, you owe me this one, kind of prayer. It's being present to the one who chose me first and chooses me again today. It's the joy of my life. And that New Year's night in particular, as the clock was turning and so was the calendar, and I was walking a path of prayer that symbolized so much for me, I could only get one prayer out through tears of passion and quivering voice. Do it again, Lord. What I saw you do here in this ordinary place among ordinary people, do it again, this time in Brooklyn. You haven't changed, so I'll keep asking, do it again, Lord. Practice. Pray as you can. Start where you are. Put down this book and talk to God. Talk to Him about the little details of your life if you're sure He doesn't care about. Talk to Him about the ways He has let you down or disappointed you. Talk to Him about the blessings heaped on you that you could never deserve. Talk to Him about the anxiety you're carrying today. Just talk to Him. Prayer is not the memorizing of facts or highlighting the key phrases. It's a relational discovery. Have been guided into prayer again and again by the poetry of Ted Loder. Holy One, there is something I wanted to tell you, but there have been errands to run, bills to pay, arrangements to make, meetings to attend, friends to entertain, washing to do. Oh, and I forgot what it is I wanted to say to you. And mostly I forget what I'm about or why. What I'm about or why. Oh God, don't forget me, please, for the sake of Jesus Christ, Eternal One. There is something I wanted to tell you, but my mind races with worry and watching, with waiting, weighing, and planning, with rutted sights and pothole grievances, with leaky dreams and leaky plumbing, and leaky relationships I keep trying to plug up. And my attention is preoccupied with loneliness, with doubt, and with things I covet. And I forget what it is I want to say to you, and how to say it honestly, or how to do much of anything. Oh God, don't forget me, please, for the sake of Jesus Christ. Almighty One, there is something I want to ask you. I stumble along the edge of a nameless rage, haunted by 100 floating fears of terrorists of all kinds. Losing my job, of failing, getting sick and old, having loved ones die, or dying, of dying. I forget what the real question is that I wanted to ask, and I forget to listen anyway, because you seem unreal and far away, and I forget what it is I have forgotten. Oh God, don't forget me, please, for the sake of Jesus Christ. Oh Father in heaven, perhaps you've already heard what I wanted to tell you. What I wanted to ask is forgive me, heal me, increase my courage, please. Renew in me a little love and faith and a sense of confidence and a vision of what it might mean to live as though you were real and I mattered and everyone was sister and brother. What I wanted to ask in my blundering way is don't give up on me. Don't become too sad about me. But laugh with me, not at me. And try again with me, and I will with you too. What I wanted to ask is peace enough to want and work for more, and joy enough to share, and for awareness that is keen enough to sense your presence here, now, there, then, always. That is the end of chapter 1. And tomorrow I'll start on chapter 2. Be still and know with prayer posture.